Hi, welcome to the 2012 My Life and Data application. It's a personal annual report. What the app does is it takes 4 years of data from a variety of different data points, so like the number of miles I run, to the number of cups of coffee I drink, to the amount I pay for gas. And it takes all that data and brings it into QlikView to help me make smarter decisions. So if we come in here and we get started, the first tab is the dashboard sheet. So it's the top has a variety of KPIs that all have to do with just the year 2012. And the midsection is keeping track of how much time I spend awake versus asleep. So if I zoom in, grab a selection of time, we'll pick just one bar. So on October 8th, I spent about 21.58 hours awake. And I can also tell you that's a weekday, because at least some of that time I actually spent at work. I also had 1 cup of coffee, and I ran 2.62 miles. But speaking of running, I actually have, let's see, at the bottom of the tab, I've got more information about individual runs. But for a bit more on that, if we switch over to the running tab, we could see that the running tab is keeping track of all of my running information over the last 4 years. So we have some KPIs at the top, so total mileage and total amount of time spent running, as well as some averages. The midsection, this is nice because it gives me my overall monthly trend for each of the 4 years. And you can see that last year, 2012, I ran more than any other year. But we can also tell, actually we jump over to individual runs, you can see that there's definitely a lot more consistency, and there's also some big numbers. So I know this was the Philadelphia Half Marathon, and these two tall bars here, this is the Philadelphia Broad Street Run, which is a 10-mile race. But also interesting is if we zoom into a section here, right about there, September 1st, 2011 was the day I decided to start running at least 1 mile every single day, and I did a 5-mile run. And so from that day till today, I actually have an unbroken streak of running at least 1 mile every single day. Now, a bit more information on the running. I've also got a custom table in here that gives me per year some of the totals and some of the averages, which is nice. We can see in 2012 I ran 809.58 miles, but back in 2004 or 2009 I ran 243 miles. So I think that's a good amount of progress over the last 4 years. But also, last year, 2012, boasted my fastest pace. Not setting the world on fire, but 8:23 is definitely, it's still my fastest pace over the last 4 years. And to keep that generally average pace across 809 miles, I think I've definitely improved. And then at the bottom, to try to put some of these numbers into context, because out of context, it's like, well, 809 miles, how far is that? Actually, if we go back to the top, so we can see that my total mileage was about almost 1,800 miles. And 1,800 miles in the context of Philadelphia to San Francisco, it's about 71% of the distance. And in terms of the equatorial circumference of the Earth, it's about 7.2%. So I've got a long way to go, but I'm getting there. Now if we move over to the next tab, driving. Driving is somewhat similar. We have the KPIs along the top, and we could do driving by month and driving by distance, similar to running. But the chart that I find interesting here is I can look at the amount of money that I've paid each time I filled up my car with gas has, in general, gone up over the last 4 years, which is what you would expect it to. But I know if I came in 2009, I spent about $1,200 on gas, and then the next year I spent almost $1,400, then almost $1,500, then a little over $1,600. So I can tell you that I know the next time when I get a new car, it's going to have to be a bit more fuel efficient than just, well, actually last year was just shy of 31 miles per gallon, because the price of gas is only going to go up. So if I want to save money in the very long run, that would be really useful. Now the Assorted tab keeps track of a few other things. The number of movies I went to, the number of concerts I went to. You can click the little table icon, you get a table, and if you click the little chart icon, it'll take you back to being a chart. As well as keeping track of Phillies baseball and some other sports, the games I've gone to, which opponents I've seen the most, and when I am in attendance, what's my win-loss percentage. And the final tab is food and drink. And food and drink is keeping track of a variety of things, so the number of cups of coffee and tea, beers and cheesesteaks, a variety of things. In terms of trying to make a difference or looking for trends, I guess, I drink a lot of caffeine, or what I think is a lot of caffeine. And so looking at this, I've generally kept, the last couple of years I've been pretty high, so I think this year I'm going to try to cut back, this year 2013. But an interesting trend is looking at the fact that over the last 3 years, beer, cheesesteaks, and soft pretzels have all been on a downward slope. So I've been cutting back on beer, cheesesteaks, and soft pretzels, and since I know that I've been increasing the number of miles I run, it's interesting. So basically we're saying that over the last 3 years, I've been getting progressively healthier, pretty much. And I think it's important to notice, and it's interesting to notice it with the data, not just how I feel. So the question would be, so why is this useful? What should people get out of this? I think while this is my data, this could be your data. So if you keep track of some information that you find useful, you should bring it into QlikView. I guarantee you'll find at least something interesting and maybe some way to change your behavior, to find some new way to do something better.